So, you know what? Let me start again because I realized my microphone wasn't even on. So, good morning, all you happy people. As I was saying, and you couldn't hear, yesterday I made an announcement on LinkedIn that I would be going live today talking about you've passed the EA exam. Now what? However, I didn't make the announcement over on Facebook. So, what I want to make sure, let me see, voice not audible. Can you hear me okay now? Okay, LinkedIn user says thank you. So, I think you can hear me. Um, I didn't make the announcement on Facebook, so it may take a little while for people to hop on, which is absolutely fine. Once you hop on the stream with me, please, please, please say hey. Let me know where you're from. Very cool. EA from India. While people are hopping on, I am going to go ahead and share this on Facebook. Like I said, since I didn't make the announcement. And then I'm going to get right into it because I blocked off an hour, but I'm not going to be on here talking for an hour unless you all have questions. Okay. So let me see here. Let me find the stream. Up there I am. And I want to share this to my main page. Alrighty. So I see, I don't know why I keep saying LinkedIn user. EA from North Carolina. Thanks for hopping on with me, LinkedIn user. I think it's Mayor pursuing the EA from India. Karina, how are you doing this morning? Good morning to you. So, if you've ever checked out one of my lives, you've ever listened to the podcast, you know that I get super excited talking about taxes and I can just go on and on and on. So, to make sure I stay on topic, I do have notes here. But just in case you don't know who I am, we've never been on a call, you've never listened to the podcast, never caught a live. My name is Timalyn Bowens, and I'm America's favorite EA. I own Bowens Tax Solutions, which is a virtual firm based in Louisville, Kentucky, and we specialize in tax representation. So I work with clients that typically owe at least $100,000 or more, or they are being levied right now or going through an audit. All right. So, why in the world am I doing this video today? I would say for the past 4 or 5 years, excuse me, for the past 4 or 5 years, I get a consistent stream of messages from either new EAs or tax professionals pursuing the EA credential. And I noticed they've been asking me the same question over and over and over again. But they're questions that I also had when I first became an EA. So, how do you know if you're actually ready to help taxpayers, right? Maybe you're interested in having your own business doing tax representation. I get asked, I just got an email last week. Can I run my own business now? What classes can I take? Do you offer classes? Do you offer mentorship? And I said, you know what? What would I have wanted somebody to answer when I first became an EA? Right? So that's why I'm doing this live today. Hi, Brittany. I had to make sure I had it right. So you guys will notice if I kind of take my time with your name, my name's been mispronounced over and over and over and over again for 30 plus years, and I hate to do it to other people. So if I mispronounce your name, please, it is not going to offend me if you correct me on how to pronounce it. All right. So before I get into it, just in case you're a brand spanking new tax professional and you have no idea what an enrolled agent is, because it's not one of the most popular designations. An enrolled agent is someone that is licensed through the Internal Revenue Service. They don't work for the Internal Revenue Service, but that license is through the Internal Revenue Service, and it authorizes them to represent taxpayers before the IRS in all 50 states. All right. And actually, as long as they're a US taxpayer, they can be represented. So, for example, right now, I have a client in Italy, I have a client in Iraq, I have a client in Austria. So, any US taxpayer I can represent before the IRS. So, what exactly does that mean? Because I just covered this in my last Writing Wednesday article. What is tax representation? Essentially, you're being a substitute for the taxpayer to handle their IRS issue. So, like I said, with myself, I work with taxpayers that owe at least $100,000 or more. So, I communicate with the IRS on their behalf to negotiate a payment plan, whether it be that lump sum settlement, which is called the offer and compromise, or I represent them in an audit. All right. So, what differentiates us from others is that we're licensed by the IRS. And with that authorization, we have unlimited representation rights, unless we've gotten in trouble with the IRS and they started to restrict them. So Paresh says, "Hi, Timalyn, share some of your experience while working as a tax professional." I'm actually going to get to that. Okay. So if you are an EA, you probably have it on your name. But if you don't have EA on your name, let me know if you are an EA currently or if you were considering becoming an EA in the comments. All right. And let me check these out because Presh, I'm going to put you on the spotlight, all right? And let me see, because for some reason I'm not popping over from Facebook, so I just want to make sure I don't have any comments from over there. I don't see any. So I know that I have a few folks on here that are actually pursuing the EA exam. So even if you haven't passed the EA exam yet, okay, Karina says, we'll be studying. So even if you haven't passed the exam yet, these three things you still need to do, because what I've seen happen is with EAs, yes, we can do tax planning, we can do tax preparation. So for some people, they want that EA license so they have a little extra oomph, right? And the authority to say, hey, I'm actually licensed through the Internal Revenue Service. But you can do tax planning without being an EA. All right. The main thing is the representation piece. So only enrolled agents, certified public accountants, which are CPAs, and tax attorneys can actually represent a taxpayer before the IRS with the unlimited representation rights. Okay. But I see people pursue the EA credential, but then once they actually get it, they don't want to represent the taxpayer. Does anybody have an idea why would somebody set aside the time to study, earn this credential, and then when they actually get to the part where they can, they don't do it? And I know there's a little lag, so you all may be answering it, and I just don't see it yet. So let's see. And I don't want to hold the time up too, too much. Thank you guys for commenting and being on here with me. So, Mayor, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Um, the question was asked how the automation and AI will be affecting tax planners. I'll talk about that a little bit, but right now let's focus on the tax representation. Why would a tax professional take all that time, study for the exam, pass the exam, but then not actually do the work? So, LinkedIn user, absolutely. Fear of not knowing the steps. And it's not just fear of not knowing the steps, it's fear of not being able to follow through. So, you know, you can watch somebody ride a bike as long as you want to, but until you actually go and get on the bike yourself and start pedaling, you're not going to know how to ride a bike. right? So, yes, the main reason why people do that is they're scared. They get stuck with the analysis paralysis, right? They're like, oh my goodness, I don't know all the steps. Oh my goodness, I don't know, I don't know the steps. I don't want to mess up. I don't know how to get clients. And they get stuck on all of this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know until they just scare themselves out of doing it. Well, I'm a firm believer in not wasting any time. So that's why I'm going to share these 3 steps that will help you, but they also helped me as a new EA, right? And I have to go back and review them even now so I can keep the fire and momentum to keep going. All right. Thank you, LinkedIn user. You guys, LinkedIn user's name is Denise. I don't know why it's being funky like that and not showing your name, but thank you for putting that in there. I appreciate it. So, here are the 3 steps every new EA should take when they're starting their EA journey. One, and you may have heard this before, and I'm sorry if I'm going to beat the horse here. Remember your why. So, a lot of people that I talk to, they're attracted to tax representation because you can make good money doing tax representation. I'll be very transparent about that because you have to think about it. People are scared to death to talk to the IRS. Even tax professionals, some of them, some of us, are scared to death to talk to the IRS. So, with you doing this representation, this is the equivalent of a lawyer representing somebody in the court of law, right? Because we're talking tax law. That's where we're negotiating with the IRS. So, the money can attract you to tax representation, but it won't keep you here. And I'm going to say that again. The money can attract you to tax representation, but it won't keep you here. It is very rewarding to me. I love what I do. If you've ever listened to any podcast episode, if you read my articles, I have a personal mission to fill the tax literacy gap, right? So I love educating taxpayers. I love representing them, but it can be a difficult job and situation, right? So last Thursday, I had all these plans for the day, for the weekend, and I had an RO, revenue officer, call me at around 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon and tell me that they needed all this information for a client because they weren't seeing eye to eye with me on what I had negotiated on behalf of the client, and they were going to deny it. So they told me I had 7 days to respond, backing up my position, and then they were going to recalculate the client's return. Now, could I request more time? Yes, because it's not like tax preparation. We have some flexibility here. However, that's a high stress situation. My client is looking at potentially owing a large sum of money, more than some people even make a year, if I don't get this together. So getting that call out of the blue, then being like, hey, I need this information, I need it ASAP, I'll give you 7 days. That, if you're only in it for the money, is not going to be worth it. All right. So I want to ask you, what is your why? Why are you interested in becoming an enrolled agent? Is it to represent taxpayers? Is your reason because of the money? And if you don't have a why yet, especially if you haven't passed the exam yet, go ahead and establish that why now. Okay? Because for me, I have to go back to my why all of the time. And for me, my why, the reason I keep going for it with representing taxpayers is because not only do I want to fill the tax literacy gap, but it's also about the impact for me. All right. So, doing the compliance part, the preparation, that's cool. But I've had people come back and say, hey, we were on the brink of divorce because of financial issues and with these taxes, and you literally saved our marriage. All right. I have emails. They're like, I never thought I'd be able to own a home again, but you helped me to see home ownership as something feasible again. And I just closed on my next home. So, those things and the impact that I'm actually having on people's lives, I have to go back to those emails. I have to go back to what I've written out about the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's what pushes me forward. Now, don't get me wrong, the money's nice. I'll take that too. But I'm passionate enough about it that if I didn't get paid, I would still keep doing it. Now, I'm not saying work for free because that's something, a stumbling block you run into when you first start as well. We don't do that over here anymore. But what is your why? So I'm going to assume, because I have quite a few people over here on LinkedIn, that you all just don't have your why yet, because I don't see them popping up. But I can see you all over here on LinkedIn. I think Facebook, I only have two. Now, if you're on Facebook, I can't see you. I just see that you're online. So pop in the comments and say hey, so I can say hey back, and let me know where you are streaming from. So, number two, for me, kind of rolls right off of number one. Make sure that you set impact goals, not just income goals. All right. Because a lot of times when we're starting out, especially if you are an entrepreneur, you have this income goal. That's the big picture, but you have to make sure you break that down into smaller steps and realize the steps that need to be taken before you actually hit that income goal. All right. So, with doing that, for me, I make a goal. This is how many taxpayers I want to help this month. All right. This is how many couples I want to help this year. This is how many people I want to help purchase their first home after getting this tax situation situated or this tax situation taken care of. For me, this is the person that I want to help retire in peace. So, what is your impact goal? How do you want to affect other people while you're on this EA journey? Because, like I said, the work is heavy. Now, is there a process and a way that you can get things done? Absolutely. If you can read and prepare a tax return, you can prepare the paperwork that's required for negotiation. But everybody doesn't have the grit to stick with it because, like I said, the work, it can be a lot. I'll be completely honest about that. So remember your why. If you don't have a why, establish that now. I'm not going to be on here forever, but set a goal. Hey, by Friday, I want to know what my why is for pursuing tax representation and post it somewhere. I used to have mine posted right here on my second monitor, but now I have it grilled in my head because I go over it and over it and over it again. All right. So on those cloudy representation days, I can go back and look at that and be like, okay, I know my purpose. I know why I'm here. So, again, number two, set impact goals, not just income goals. Income goals are fine, but if you're anything like me, like I said, the money will get you here, but it won't keep you here. The impact and the fulfillment is what will actually keep you here. All right, so I got some comments. Let me catch up. Denise says her why is helping people and more financial freedom for myself. And those are two very noble reasons. Like I said, we don't work for free over here anymore. That's a trick of the enemy that people get caught up in when starting out because we get so focused on helping people that we forget we need to help ourselves too. So I won't call her out because I don't see her on here, but I have a friend on Facebook, also a tax professional, also in this field, and she will get on me about my prices. All right. So if you guys follow me, you guys know who my business partner is, my 9-year old. I won't get all into all that too. But she was like, hey, my friend talking about my daughter, she likes tacos. She likes to eat good. And I said, well, shoot, I like to eat good too. So why would I spend all this time and effort working for free? All right. So, Denise, very awesome. Helping people and more financial freedom for yourself. So, with that why, I want to make sure you also, because you're looking at helping more people or helping people and more financial freedom for yourself, with step two, make sure you break that down into impact goals, not just your income goal. All right. So, with helping people, like I said, how many families do you want to help this year? How many people do you want to help be able to sell their home because you removed the tax lien? What do you want to do with your financial freedom? How will this impact not just you, but other people? Because what happens is when we set goals that aren't self serving, that's when we really take off in our businesses and whatever we're pursuing. So let's see. Hey, Kiana from Syracuse, New York. How are you doing this morning? Thanks for hopping on and joining me. Denise also says the challenge, yes. So I love the challenge as well. Like I said, in this line of work, is there a process? Yes, there absolutely is. There are steps to follow, but it's still different from tax preparation for me because while the workflow is the same, everybody's story is different. And I tell my clients, my job in filling out this paperwork is to make you look as pitiful on paper as legally possible. All right. And it really is a puzzle once you begin to understand the tax law and the rules for the forms, what's allowed and what's not allowed. And people say loopholes, legal loopholes. I'm not going to call them loopholes. I'm going to call them the opportunities to actually protect your client because sometimes on paper, people look like they're making more than they actually are. Okay. Especially with the IRS, some of the expenses aren't allowed, but then we have different standards and allowances that a client may not be aware of. Whereas if they got on the phone with the IRS, they would shoot themselves in the foot. All right. So, yes, most definitely helping people more financial freedom, the challenge. Shane, what is going on? I saw you yesterday doing your video with the chair, throwing up the bat signal. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Abdul. So, again, to recap, number one, remember your why. If you don't have a why, go ahead and establish that now. So, you're not my client. I'm giving you homework. If you don't have your why, I want you to go ahead and have that established by Friday. All right. I'm going to take it a step further. Don't just establish it by Friday. Friday, I want you to send me a message and tell me what your why is for pursuing tax representation. All right. Let's see. Hey, hey, hey. I'm glad you're doing well down there in Atlanta, Shane. Talk to you in real time here. Do you guys know on Facebook, your girl is bad at checking her messages. But if you're here on LinkedIn, you can catch me, all right? So, one, remember your why. If you don't have one, establish it by Friday, and you're going to send me a message with it, right? Two, set impact goals, not just your income goals, all right? How are you going to affect other people? Don't just set self serving goals and make it me, 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 because that's how we grow stagnant. Um, what are you going to do for other people, your community? How are you going to have an impact on everyone else by doing tax representation? Let me see. Got my notes on my phone. People are trying to call me. Oh, number three. One is the loneliest number. And one of my mentors says one is the loneliest number in marketing, but one is the loneliest number in business too. And that doesn't mean you have to go out and hire contractors, employees that what I'm saying is as an entrepreneur, one is the loneliest number in unique community. So step number three is find your tribe. All right. So even with as long as I've been doing this, I have a community of I have a group, two ladies that I call my goal friends. We hop on once a week, and we do stuff focused on our business. All right. So, money generating activities. We talk about how much money we brought in for the week, how much money we spent for the week. Um, Find your tribe of accountability like that. But then I also have other ladies and gentlemen as well that we push each other to reach our income goals as well as our impact goals. So find your tribe, find your community. Um, I know for me, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? So you don't necessarily have to hook up with the first bleh, rewind. You don't have to necessarily hook up with the first person that you meet, but when you're looking at your why, when you're looking at your impact goals, who do you know that aligns with your why? Who do you know that aligns with your impact goals and your income goals? You want to be with like minded people that will push you forward to those goals. All right. So, Karina says, how do you find that tribe? In the world of Al Gore's internet, well, some of us refer to it as Beyonce's internet now, there are a lot of networking opportunities, but I will say meeting people online is not the same as meeting people in person, right? So I have mentors locally, and I also have mentors that are online. For me, whenever I want to become better at something, I look at people that have accomplished the goals that I want to accomplish, and that's who I reach out to, that's who I follow, that's whose journey I want to know about because I want to make sure, even though if I don't do things exactly like them, with their guidance, I know there are pitfalls that I can avoid. So, oh, I got a like on Facebook. Thank you, thank you. Facebook is just now trying to catch up, and I'm almost done. If you were on here late, let me know where you're from. Let me know your name, because on Facebook I can't see you. If you were catching the replay, let me know that too. Hashtag replay. So, Karina, again, looking at people who have accomplished the goals that you want to accomplish. There is a lot that you can find out about a person following them on social media. Not everything, because they can have some skeletons in the closet, right? But if you think their why, like I said, aligns with your why, if you can stomach their content, which some people go a little extreme, especially with this, we have an election coming up. I look at the stuff people post and, I can see what I think is distasteful and what's not. You find the people that align with you, and that's who you reach out to connect with. Now, like I said, excuse me, I have local mentors, I have online mentors, I have paid coaches. All of that is good. So I would say find a mentor, find a paid community, and then find your accountability people that are closer to the same level with you. And I know that may not have been a direct hit to what you were asking, but let me tell you two other places that you can find a tribe. Right now, if you are a new EA pursuing the EA credentials, um, at americasfavoritea.com, right now, I still have a lead magnet. I'll just call it what it is. It's a lead magnet. It is the back tax negotiation checklist. So it literally is a list. Don't get too excited. But it's the things that the taxpayer is going to need before they can actually negotiate with the IRS. So it'll list the different forms that you need to actually go through. And I believe it's in the order you should go through them before negotiating with the IRS. So that is one place. But there are also online communities, and I'm happy to announce, if you like me, if I am your cup of tea and you'd like to go on this journey with me, on September 18th of this year, which is a Monday, I'm actually going to be launching the Tax Pro representation journey. Because, like I said in the beginning of this video, I've had people reach out. I even have people email me, which, if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, that means we're not even connected. So they send me messages asking the questions that I've gone through today and even more. So, with the tax rep journey, what is going to happen is on Mondays, you are going to get a private podcast sent to your inbox. And it's not going to be 30 minutes long like today, but within it, I'm going to share parts of my journey that will relate to where you are at now. And just like I gave you the 3 steps and I gave you homework, I didn't forget I gave you homework. So make sure if you didn't share your why, you're sending me a message on Friday, giving it to me. But each Monday with the podcast, you are going to get 3 steps that you need to implement that week to push you a little bit further along. Now, some of these steps are going to revolve around mindset because we have to have our mind right if we're going to be pursuing clients. Excuse me, pursuing clients and helping them. I am so sorry. One moment. Whoo! For some reason, my nose started itching really bad. So, you're going to have the 3 steps to implement. Some of them will revolve around mindset because, like I was saying, our minds have to be right. We have to be in a good space to be able to represent somebody else and help them. But how can you help somebody else if you're in need of help too? Right? If you're doubting yourself that, like, hey, I'm not even good enough, I can't do this work, but then you're getting on Facebook talking about you're going to help somebody. Not if you're thinking like that, you're not, right? So, the mindset piece, and then also steps to help you know how to do the representation. So, that's Mondays. The podcast is coming out. Get those 3 steps to implement. Everybody learns a little bit different. So, on Wednesdays, an article will go out exclusive to the Tax Pro representation journey, folks. That will also lay out some of the same concepts, have an actual checklist that you can see that again will reiterate what we talked about. And in this podcast and article subscription, like I said, it is private, so it is going to be a paid subscription. Um, I'm answering questions that I had that I still get. Once a month, there will be a case study. So I will actually talk about cases that I'm either actively working on or that I've completed. So you will learn the process of how to remove a tax lien. You will learn the process of filling out the form 433F. You will learn, if you're not an EA yet, what you can do to begin to help the taxpayer. Because, like I said, you can't get on the phone on their behalf yet, but you can still fill out paperwork. You still can present them with different solutions for their tax situation. So, most definitely, if you are interested in checking out the Tax Pro representation journey, that subscription, send me a DM and I can send you more information about it. I'm really excited about it because if you didn't know, September 18th is also my birthday, which is the perfect time to launch something for my Tax Pro friends, right? Miss Lysandra Gass Everett, the home biz tax lady. Y'all, we got a celebrity on the live. It's almost time to leave, but we got a celebrity on here. Thanks for hopping on, Lysandra. But Karina, thank you so much for asking that question. Like I said, we are going to make sure you have your why. That's step number 1. If you don't have it yet, you're going to establish that why by Friday and send me a message. Number 2, you are going to set impact goals, not just income goals. Because remember what I said, the money can attract you to tax representation, but it will not keep you here. Trust me. These clients, these revenue officers and agents, they will run you out of here. Sometimes make it not even worth it. All right. And then number 3, find your tribe. Like I say on my podcast, I'm here to fill the tax literacy gap. It doesn't have to be me, but get the help you need. All right. That is honestly my true goal in this because I don't want you to take all that time studying, pass the EA exam, and then you don't actually do anything with it. Now, if I'm your cup of tea, you like my vibe, then hey, go subscribe for that Tax Pro Rep journey, right? Because I'm excited about the podcast and the articles and this private subscription. Lysandra says, this would have been so valuable at the beginning of my EA journey. I had to figure it out. Right. And Lysandra makes the perfect point, exactly what I said about having the mentor in the community. How do you find them? You want to look at people that have already accomplished the goals that you want to accomplish. You want to connect with people whose why aligns with your why, because in this business, you also have to have integrity. So you want to surround yourself with like-minded people so they can help push you forward. There's a guy on here. It says beautiful room. Thank you. Thank you, sir. He also says two celebrities. I think I want to hop off of here. I think this guy, Joseph Bones, is on here flirting with me. Just in case you guys don't know, that is my husband. So, hi, husband. But I don't see any other questions or comments. So, I'm going to let you all go. Make sure that if you guys have a tax pro friend that is thinking about taking the EA exam, or right now they're sitting for it, or they're new, I'm going to go ahead and call people that just passed within the last 5 years new. Because, like I said, there are people who have passed the exam and then they get stuck because they're scared. They don't want to pick up the phone and talk to the IRS. They're scared that they don't know the steps. They're scared about whether or not they can do this. They need to listen to this live too. All right? Don't don't be selfish. Share the good. Hey, Miss Austin, you need to catch the replay. Yes, you do. And while you're watching it, go ahead and make sure that you put that hashtag replay, because I'm trying to track the people watching this. Denise, you are so very welcome. Thank you for hopping on with me. Shakar, thank you for tuning in from India. You all have a wonderful, absolutely wonderful Tuesday. And I will probably actually be hopping back on next Tuesday to talk a little bit more about the tax pro representation journey. Um, Let me see. I got one last question I'm going to answer. I think, unless you guys start bombarding me, because I said I wasn't going to be here the whole hour unless you guys start asking questions. So Dom says, Timalyn, you are great. Thank you, Dom. I didn't even see that part. That's not why I picked this question. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for what you do. What is your advice for getting through part two? I've passed part one and three so far. So it's been a while since I sat for the exam, but Dom, in all fairness, for me, part two is actually the easiest section. And that is because I have a tax journey that's a little bit different than a lot of people that I run across on LinkedIn. So in 2011, I actually did my first year in the tax industry with a firm called Crow Horwath. So they are a CPA firm. They work on banks, they have publicly traded company. Like, they're pretty big. So the first returns I actually did were partnership and corporation S corp returns, which is what part two covers. So I had enough background and hands-on information with that part two, when I sat down, was actually really, really easy. Um, I feel like there were technical parts to it. So, what I would advise, for me, I needed to hear the information and read it. So, I did actually use Fast Forward Academy's book, and then I used Passkey to listen to the information and took the practice quizzes. Um, but I would also encourage you to actually look at the instructions for partnership return, for an S corp, for a corporation. Um, because if I remember correctly, and this was a while ago when I took it, but there were technical parts. So any examples that you can read, like the IRS examples, those will also be good. But if you haven't scheduled part two yet, go ahead and get that scheduled. Congratulations on passing part one and three. And I'm looking forward to you letting me know that you passed number two. Kiana, heart. Oh, my heart is bad. But heart, Karina says, thank you. All right. I think I really don't have any more questions. So you all are very welcome. Thank you for hopping on with me. And I will see you later. Bye.